Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, and also, if you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. My name's Anton, and this is actually a great time to join the join the channel, join the community if you're interested. If you like my vibe, by the end of the video, because some changes are afoot. A lot of exciting things are coming, and I've actually created a PowerPoint presentation for you guys. Going over some of these changes. This is the first time I think I've ever done this. This brings me back, like, way back to university and high school, where, I used to love doing stuff like this. I used to love making cool PowerPoint presentations and everything. So, let's jump into it. So, here we have it. So this is introducing the Anton Network, and this is the next evolution of my vision. And before we get into it, I do want to share with you guys a quick overview of this presentation. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about is my journey over the past 6 months, and then how I've been, this whole idea of the Anton Network and merging my channels and integrating all of my interests. Next is the new direction of the reaction channel and the new direction of the podcast. And then finally, a community announcement. And that's it. So let's get into, first I just want to bring you guys up to date over the past 6 months, because for you guys, it has been about, I think, 1 month. Yeah, just over 1 month since I uploaded my announcement video saying that I came back to YouTube, reactions, and then the I Lied video. So what's interesting is that I made both of those videos back in June. And then in July, I recorded the 8 reactions that I put up this month. And then between August to October, pretty much I was heavily focused on the therapy stuff I was in. I was in a pretty much from, May until December. I was in a coaching program. I was in a therapy program with my mentor. And so that was like my number one priority during this time. I was also working behind the scenes on my podcast and getting things ready to launch the next season. And I was really working a lot with my human design stuff, which I'll talk about later in this presentation. Just, more focused on that, study, clients, that kind of thing. And so reactions did take more of a back seat. And I was just, there was just something within me where I was feeling like, okay, it was almost like there was a part of me that knew that some changes were going to be happening. I didn't know them at the time, but it was like just this feeling like, okay, like put on the brakes a little bit. Don't go so head deep into reactions. Just wait. Like there was just this feeling of just, I wasn't feeling the call to reactions this time. And then we have October, which is I started uploading those rock re-uploads from my old channel, from my rock reaction channel. And this is actually when I started feeling the pull to potentially start doing reactions again, feeling a stronger pull back to the podcast. And this is also when I developed, or I received the idea for the Anton Network and the idea to integrate everything. And that took about 3 weeks. And I'll get into this a little bit later, but yeah, this whole process took about 3 weeks to figure out, really to feel comfortable. And get out of my head, because my head during this time was telling me things wouldn't work. And again, I'll get into that soon. And this is also, for all of you that rewatch this video, this is also when I developed the idea to do human design reactions. And then here we have November. I posted the announcement videos, the I Lied video, the return to YouTube video, and I started posting the new reactions that I made in July. And so the next part is integration. So effectively, the idea was I wanted to integrate my music reactions with my podcast, with my human design study, and my coaching work. And so as I said, I just want to integrate all of these aspects of myself, because I felt like, this actually was my original vision. I don't know if you guys remember this, But back in 2020, when I started my YouTube channel, it was actually called Arc Vision Media, or actually at that point, I think it was just called Arc Vision. And it had, my podcast on there. I had my reactions. I was doing all kinds of music. I was doing rock, metal, pop, classic rock. I was doing everything on one channel. And yeah, about a year in, I started noticing challenges with what I was doing. I was noticing that I was starting to feel like really split and pulled in these two directions. Like, I was feeling like my pop singer-songwriter reactions were taking off a lot more than my rock and my metal stuff. And my podcast, I wasn't really putting very much focus and attention into. And so that's about, I think July of 2021 is when I had that idea to split everything. So I was going to make 2 reaction channels, and I was going to move things onto its own podcast channel. And this is when I feel like I started, like fracturing parts of myself away. And for marketing purposes and branding, and I was watching a lot of YouTube videos at the time, and I was really interested in success. I was really interested in, okay, like I want to be successful at this. I really want to push forward. And really what I did at this time is I focused most heavily on my pop reactions. And then that was the fastest mover in all of my channels. And so I've just like recently just come back to this idea of like, I want to reintegrate all of these parts of myself again. Like I love rock music. I love metal music. I love pop. I love singer-songwriter stuff. I love country. I love my psychological study. I love spirituality. Like, this human design and gene keys that I've been studying. I started doing coaching back, a year and a half ago, in July of 2023. So I just felt like, it's time to reintegrate all these parts of myself. And because I also noticed, when it came to my podcast, that was like more my spiritual side, my coaching side. And in some ways, I felt like I was keeping all of my music stuff up separate from that. So when I was doing my music stuff, I didn't get too deep. I would get very much in my mental health journey and stuff, but I was like, okay, like the reactions is mental health and music. My podcast is more my spiritual side, more my woo-woo side, my more esoteric side. And I just felt like, okay, like I want to actually just bring these things together. And so that's it for the integration side of this. And now we're going into reactions. So the big change is we're actually going to be changing the name of Anton Reacts to the Anton Analysis. Because I felt like I've outgrown the name Anton Reacts. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just like I feel like I don't really just do reactions anymore. I feel like what I really do is analysis videos, like mental, like lyrical analysis, psychology, that kind of thing. And with the Anton Analysis moving forward, so there's going to be like really a couple, there's going to be 2 main parts to it now. So it's going to be music. It's also going to be culture. So I'll be reacting to podcast clips, just things that are in the greater culture and current events. Even like what really kicked this off for me was the Diddy stuff going on, because it's interesting when music and culture start to intertwine, right? And I was like, I really want to talk about that stuff because, again, like my background of, I can read people pretty well. And I think all of you guys can tell that just from the music. Like I have these intuitive impulses. I can just like listen to a song by somebody and I feel like I intuitively get them pretty quickly. And yes, I wanted to take that intuitive side into more than just music and start talking about culture and current events. And another part of this is like, I want to merge education with entertainment, which is, again, already what I was doing with Anton Reacts. But I really want to bring in this new side with the human design stuff. So right here, this is human design. So it's this psychological profiling system. It's very connected to like the Chinese I Ching, astrology, the Kabbalistic tree of life. It's the synthesis of various esoteric disciplines, and psychology, quantum physics, and biology. So it's incredibly deep, and it's been my life's work for the last, I'd say, year and a half, almost 2 years actually, that I've been deep into it. And I want to start, again, like I said, integrating everything I do. So bring in my esoteric side, my psychology side, and really bring my education side to the reactions. Because I felt like I was also, I think, doing myself a little bit of a disservice with the reactions, where I was definitely holding back, because I do have a background in education. Like, I was in I did a four-year degree in university, and part of that was I was studying political science, geography, and education. And then in my 4th year, when I did my thesis in psychology. And so I have these sides of myself that I definitely like would lean on with my reactions when I'd be breaking down the lyrics. But I think a lot of the time I wouldn't really step into my power. I wouldn't step into my full educator role, which is generally in my private life. That is what I'm in all the time. And another part of moving forward with the reactions is I want to have a narrower focus of artists, at least for public uploads. So as you can probably see, if you look at all of the videos on the channel, I made a lot of them private. I would say I unlisted probably 66, 2/3 of the videos, because I just didn't feel like they represented truly me and my tastes. And I noticed it started to get me in trouble, because I had all these people subscribing for just so many artists, and all of them naturally want me to react to the artists that they subscribed for. So I would have, I'd probably reacted to, 400 artists. And out of 400, maybe 50 to 75 of them I loved. And the others, I would like them. Some of them I didn't even really like. But a lot of them I was just kind of like, yeah, they're all right. And I was just doing myself a disservice. And now, like, part D of this, like, I want this to be like a radio vision, where I want everyone that's subscribed to be subscribed based on the stuff we put up publicly. So every single public upload, if someone subscribes for that video, I want them to feel confident that more of that kind of content is coming. And so I don't want to feature anything on the channel that is not something that I'd be like, yeah, I want to go back to that. Obviously I still like variety. I still like doing a lot of things, but yeah, I just want to feel more connected to you guys. Is not the right word. It's like, I want us to be more synergistic. I want an audience that loves the same things as me, and therefore I don't feel like I'm so spread thin that when I put up one piece of content, potentially 80% of my audience has no interest in that at all. And yeah, I definitely understand that this might anger some people. Some people might feel like I'm abandoning them, and in some sense, this is a letting go, for sure. And as I allude to right here, I recommend, I have in the description of this video, I've made a list of all of the artists that I love that are in my main rotation, and I call them like tier 2 artists, where I enjoy them, but like in the last 6 months to a year, I haven't really felt called to them. So what I do recommend is just take a look at that list and look at the main rotation tier, and just make sure that artists you love are there. Maybe there's 1, 2, 5, 10. just yet, because if all of the artists that you're subscribed for and you love are not in that main rotation tier, yeah, it does mean that I likely will not be going back to that artist. And then if the artists that you are subscribed to are in the tier 2 tier, that is, I think that's more either artists where I've done a fair decent amount of them and I just like haven't really clicked with them fully, or we haven't done enough of them. Like, for example, Richard Marx is a really good example of this, and even In Excess, where these are two artists that like I just haven't heard enough of them where I like them, but I just haven't heard enough to know if I love them, and I would probably want to watch some interviews with them. Because one thing I notice is almost all of the artists I have in my tier 1 are artists that like I've seen interviews, like I feel like I know them as human beings, and like I have this really strong connection with them. Like all of them are artists I've seen live, like either on YouTube or pretty much YouTube. I don't really go out to see many shows. But yeah, they're artists that like I feel a strong emotional bond with. Yeah, so if you look at that list, you're like, oh, sweet, a lot of the tier 1 artists or the main rotation tier artists, like you're into, it's like, sweet, we're gonna have a really good fit. And it will mean that like when I put out content, chances are if there's a lot of those that you're into, and I've put them into two lists. One is like singer-songwriter, country, and pop, because I don't really expect those people to like the rock and metal stuff, and vice versa. Like I kind of like, okay, if you're into rock and metal, how many of these artists do you like? If you're into pop, singer-songwriter, and country, how many of these ones? Because I like I said, I have a radio vision for this. I have a vision where when I react to stuff like that, I would love it if you guys would take a shot on listening to some of these artists. Like I really want to take you on a musical journey. And there's a handful of you guys that are actually totally into this. Crystal, Sharon, Amber, David, like there's a handful of you guys that already are. And that just, that means a lot to me. Because I love the curiosity. I love the open-mindedness. And I also like, it means like, cool, like you guys are here to spend some time with me. And the song is a bonus, and you might be excited about getting new music. And again, that's why I want us to be like in sync with our musical tastes, because I want to build that trust with you guys. That when I put out something, you guys are like, hey, I like most of what Anton likes, and I haven't heard of this artist. I'm going to give this a shot. Maybe I'll fall in love with something new. And a lot of you guys have, and it's been fantastic. So yeah, so that's it. And also like, you know, we still will check out other artists. It's just if I don't love the artist or love the song, I'll just put it up in the unlisted playlist that I feature like on the main homepage of this channel. And so that's it for reactions. So next we have the Anton Network. So this is, again, the overarching vision of what I'm building here. And this is the new logo, which I've already, which I showed you guys when I did the announcement that I was coming back to reactions, but this is like the main unveiling of the logo. So yeah, so the Anton Network has essentially 3 main parts. So the first is the Anton Show, which is the podcast. We have the Anton Analysis, which is reactions to music and culture. And we'll be doing some miscellaneous content like, you know, Q&As, life updates, bonus videos. And then I'm also going to be creating the Anton Network audio experience. So right now I have the Anton Show, the podcast, which is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of the main podcast networks. And what I really want to do now is I want to take all of my content and put it up on audio only. Because I know like there's a lot of you guys that pretty much only listen to things like in your car, audio only. And I think sometimes as creators, we can be like, no, like you got to watch it the way that we've intended it. But it's like a lot of you, if I don't give you the audio experience, you're just never going to check out the content. And so I'd rather give you the opportunity to have like reactions audio. Like that's pretty cool. You can be in your car and, you know, check out reactions, you know, almost like a radio show, right? It's actually kind of like the radio. right? Like there's a song, you listen to the song, and then like there's like the radio announcer, and they have like kind of a talk show in between things. So yeah, so I see this as like, I'm just going to be taking everything I do, making audio versions of it, and throwing it on all of the audio networks as the Anton Network audio experience. And each of these are going to have its own thumbnail style on YouTube, except obviously the audio stuff. I'll also be doing like different kinds of thumbnail styles based on if it's like kind of heavier music, rock and metal stuff, or chill, easy listening music. So this chill, I'll probably outline either the thumbnail or the name of the artist, the background. I'll probably make blue, and then if it's like kind of rock and metal, red, which is really what I was doing before as well. So that's, again, building that trust with you guys. Like, okay, if you're into rock and metal and our tastes are aligned, and I throw out something and it has that red thumbnail, like it'd be awesome if you guys would be like, oh sweet, let's see if I find a new band I like, right? And vice versa. If you guys are into more like singer-songwriter, country, pop stuff, if you see that blue outline, you're like, oh cool, I'm open to trying something new. And so that's it for the Anton Network. All right, so now we're going to be talking community. So yeah, this is exciting. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving from Patreon and Discord to Mighty Networks. So this is a cutting edge community platform service. It took me, I think I spent close to a week just researching, scouring the internet for the best community platform there is. And I found Mighty Networks. So Tony Robbins uses this, Matthew Hussey, who's one of the top dating coaches in the world, Zach Bush, and a handful of other people. Pretty much all the people that I look up to and I deeply respect, and the communities I'm part of, use Mighty Networks. And it just has very cool community building features. And I was actually going to be unveiling this today, but just last night, me and my creative team, we were looking at the network going, is it ready to launch? And we received this huge idea that greatly expands the scope. And so I pretty much said, okay, I freaking love this idea. But I can't, like this is going to take a month, maybe 2 months or more to fully implement and build behind the scenes. This is going to take a serious amount of time to build. So yeah, so it's not going to be ready yet, and I will announce it when it is ready. And then also in the meantime, all of the exclusive content that will be going on that membership platform, like the full album reactions, all of the bonus reactions, all the bonus podcasts, the vault database of podcasts, all of those things are going to be going up on Patreon. You can find the link down below if you're interested in that. And also when it comes to requests, moving forward, they're going to be collaborative. So effectively, they will be mostly on Twitch. So my vision for it is, so first of all, I'm going to be bringing back Twitch live streams. So we're all going to be doing like reactions together, and I will come to you guys with a theme, with a vibe I'm looking for. I'll bring an artist, maybe it's Fleetwood Mac, Five Finger Death Punch, Ed Sheeran, Jack Savoretti or something. I'd be like, all right, guys, I've been really vibing this lately. Do you guys have anything for me in this vein? And so you guys will just like be like, oh yeah, actually, one of my favorite artists, he's kind of what we're listening to right now. So it's this collaborative thing where I'm sharing music with you and you're sharing music with me. So we're going back and forth. And also, so yeah, when we have the community platform up and running, we'll be like, same kind of thing. I'll be like, hey guys, this week's Twitch stream, I'm looking for this kind of music. So everyone that can't make the Twitch stream, what ideas do you have for me? And then lastly, engage members on YouTube. So there's a handful of you guys that pretty much check out all of the new content, everything I release. You take a chance on new things. You're an active member of the community. You're a wonderful asset to the culture. I'm thinking Crystal, I'm thinking Kyle, Amber, Sharon, Mel, Brian. Like there's a handful of you guys that are just, you really show up, and like I really appreciate it. Like you make this a very warm-hearted community for all of us, and all the people that are just checking it out. Like it's just, you guys are all very warm-hearted. So I want to reward you guys, and that's it. So now podcast is next. Effectively, Yeah, the cat's already out of the bag on this, but yeah, back like 2 years ago, it was called the Anton Zachor podcast, and then like a year ago, behind the scenes, I shifted it to the Anton Show. But this is like the official reveal, so it's called the Anton Show now. And the four main things I'm focusing on with the Anton Show is primarily like philosophy, psychology, and metaphysics. Metaphysics is a more scientific approach to, say, spirituality. But really, like, I'm actually into like physics and like metaphysics. And when it comes to spirituality, when people are like, hey man, like there's reincarnation, I'm like, then how does it work? You know what I mean? What are the mechanics? Like, you know, like how do you get in contact with your soul, higher self? Like there's these, you know, I'm not a new age guy, but it's like, I'm interested in science, but I'm also very spiritual. So I'm actually trying to like combine these things together, right? So that's a huge part of the show. Another huge thing I really want to focus on, or not even want to, I am focusing on now, and I've been in talks with people behind the scenes and getting bigger guests on, is culture and current events. So culture just means like creatives, musicians, but also that could just be like, you know, I don't know, Jake Paul and Logan Paul. Like it's like just anybody that is driving culture. And then current events, more like kind of political stuff. Like the biggest thing is I just want to have an impact on culture. And I'd love in the future, I'm going to have, you know, politicians and presidents on the podcast and stuff. I see myself definitely going like down like the Joe Rogan, Aubrey Marcus route, you know? Theo Vaughn. I love Theo too and stuff. And just, they really inspire me. And then also health and wellness. This is like, you know, relationship experts, coaches, health people, mental health advocates, health and wellness. And then lastly, science and technology. So I'm fascinated by like virtual reality, future technologies, cryptocurrency. Like I'm interested in the future. I'm a futurist in some ways. So like Lex Friedman, I love his podcast. And it's just like, I'm just really interested in like science and technology. So that's probably like the on the lower end of the list. I'd say the top three ones are my main interests, but all of them are what I want to focus on with the Anton Show. So that's it for the Anton Show. And so thank you. Thank you for spending time with me tonight and checking this out, checking this PowerPoint presentation out with me. So I hope you guys are as stoked about this as I am. And yeah, I'm really stoked about this. So yeah, man, I love you guys and I'll see you when I see you next. All right.